Today we're going to be doing ourselves pizza spooky bagels. So we're going to write up this recipe. It'll be on my website tonight as well, and we'll also do that little YouTube edit as well for you guys to just get a little bit of guidance on the dish for the recipe. So we're going to actually be making the bagels from scratch, and if you want to go check out this recipe, it is on my YouTube channel, Baking with Chef John Reed. So we're going to be using that bagel recipe. So we're going to be making a starter for it, which is a Yukon, which is pretty much similar like a Yukon Paste for a brioche. So it's going to make it nice, light, fluffy and chewy. And also we're going to be making that dough and we're going to mix it in there. So in addition, we're actually going to maybe do everyday seasoning. So this is going to be an optional thing if you want it on there anyway. We're also going to obviously let them proof, boil them, and then we're going to bake them. And then we're going to cut them in half. We're going to make a nice fresh tomato sauce to put over the top, and then we're going to cut up some cheese in different ways to make some ghosts, maybe some mummies, and what was the other one? Can't remember the other one now. Totally forgot. Oh, a spider web. So, and we're going to use those olives as well for the eyes, the spiders, and obviously the ghost eyes as well. So, should be quite interesting to see how this one turns out. So the first thing we want to do for my bagel recipe today is actually a Yukon Paste. So this Yukon Paste acts like a Yukon Paste for the brioche or other breads. Basically, we'll make it nice, light, soft, and fluffy, but it also add this chewiness to it. So we're going to be using 90 ml of water and 30 grams of flour. We're going to pop that into a small pan, put it onto the stove, cook it out on a medium heat until it's nice and pasty, almost like me, but not quite. I'm going to put this onto a medium heat. We're going to grab a spatula and just mix that around for about roughly 5 minutes until it's nice and pasty. That's all we're going to do. And it might help if you put the right one on as well. There we go. Right, there we go. Pasty as hell. So we're going to make the base for the bagels. So this is going to be 500 grams of strong white flour. We've got 10 grams of salt going in there, excuse me. And then we're going to set that aside. We're going to do the yeast mix, which is 280 ml of warm water, 35 Celsius and 95 Fahrenheit, 3 teaspoons of yeast, and we want that 15 grams of sugar for some food for the yeast. 500 grams chatteroony, and then 10 grams of salt going in there as well. It's really important you get that temperature right. Stay nice and warm. And the reason why you want to make sure the temperature is right is because if it's too low, it won't proof as much. If it's too high, or potentially a little bit higher, you could kill the yeast. So I find 35 Celsius is perfect for me. Right, we want 280 ml. We want 15 grams as well of sugar in there for the yeast. Right, we need 3 teaspoons of dry active yeast. Yeast is done, flour mix, and the Yukon Paste is ready to go. Low speed, let's give this a little mix up first with that Yukon Paste first. Yeasty mix is going in. Without making too much of a mess. Wait for that flour to incorporate first before we go ham on it. So as you can see, that's almost nice and smooth. So you just want to basically beat this for roughly about 5 minutes or so. You don't want to beat it until it's like really tough for a long time. So keep an eye on it. Once it's really nice and smoothed up, take it out. We're going to shape it, and then we're going to put it into a bowl and then let it proof for an hour or two until it's doubled in size. And then we'll put it in the bowl, bit of flour on top, and then we're going to let it proof. I'm actually going to start making the tomato sauce mix that we're going to make, so we can get that on the go, let that cooking down, we can blend that up ready for the pizza bagels. So I'm going to use my normal tomato sauce recipe, which is going to consist of 1 onion, 4 garlic cloves, a little bit of fresh thyme, 4 tomatoes, can of tomatoes, 2 teaspoons of dry basil, 2 teaspoons of oregano, 1 tablespoon of cider vinegar or original vinegar, whichever you want distilled, that's fine. 2 tablespoons of honey, and then just a little splash of water just to cook it down, reduce, and then we're going to blend it, taste it, season it. Right, so we're going to peel the garlic cloves down. You could crush these down, but I'm actually going to use my microplane to grate these into a nice little paste, so hence why we're peeling them and not crushing them. So basically, you see me cut an onion before, keeping the root intact, and then we're just going to cut it horizontally. The more layers you get out of this, the more finer dice you're going to get out of it. But we're not going to be too concerned about that today because we're going to be blending this up for the tomato sauce. So, and then same again when we're going vertically. Not cutting all the way through, just making sure we put those layers in there. And then we're going to cut across into that nice little dice. And then when you get to the end piece, you pretty much just cut that straight down in half. Pretty much just do the same again. And then we can dice that up. And there you go. There's your onion diced. Well, half an onion, shall we say. Right, let's get on microplane. start grating down those little cheeky bad boys. So we only want like probably half a teaspoon of thyme leaves. These are quite minute. If they're quite big, you can chop them up if you want. Entirely up to you, but it's all going to get blended up anyway, so it's going to make no difference whatsoever. Right, onions and garlic going into the pan. Start sauteing them off. You want to cook them down for a couple of minutes just to soften up. 4 pearl tomatoes, or if you're going to go for a large tomato, maybe just 2 large tomatoes would be fine. Pretty much just going to slice these and then dice them. Skins and seeds and all, because there's all the beautiful flavor in there. So I should give it up into a nice little small dice. So I'm going to slice them and then dice them straight after. So in goes the tomatoes and the juice and all that beautiful flavor. Tomatoes are in. We're going to get some herbs in there as well. So we're going to go for 2 teaspoons of dried basil, 2 teaspoons of oregano as well. So we're going to get some nice beautiful herby flavors in there. And then we're going to add the can of tomatoes in there as well. So I would say for the best tomatoes to use, in my personal opinion, is plum tomatoes. But because I don't want to make so much sauce, I'm just going for the canned chopped tomatoes. I wish they did plum tomatoes, but in a smaller can. I've never seen them. I've only seen them once in the UK. They used to do like plum tomatoes in a small can, and they were perfect for what you wanted. We should have a can of tomatoes in there. Unfortunately, I don't have a can of tomatoes because I mislooked at my shelf. Because it's actually chickpeas, not tomatoes. So, but that's okay. But anyway, imagine we did add a can of tomatoes, and then all we need to add to this is pretty much 2 tablespoons of honey, 1 tablespoon of vinegar, and then just topped up with water. Honestly, now I don't think I need to add any vinegar or honey. I'm just going to let it cook out on its own accords. Just let this cook down now, and then we can blend it afterwards. So it's got lots more herbs, a lot more flavor in it, but I don't need to add any kind of vinegar to it right now. So I've already made some everything bagel seasoning. So, fantastic, still good to go. So basically, if you're gonna ask me what's in there, so 3 tablespoons of poppy seeds, 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds, 2 tablespoons of black sesame seeds, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, and half a tablespoon of salt. And that's what you're gonna need for your bagels. And this is optional if you want them on your bagels or not for your pizza bagels, because we're going to be cutting them in half, so some of them will have it on, some of them won't, because you've got the bottoms and the tops. Have looked at the dough, it has doubled in size. It's actually really nice and warm. So, oh yeah. Look at that already. Doubled in size in no time. I knew this was going to prove really quick, because I felt the dough when I put it in, it was really warm. I was like, this is actually a really good temperature, so yeah, this is proved a treat. So we're going to actually roll these out. We're going to need 80 grams per bagel. You should get 10 bagels out of this, and you'll have one like small one left over. So we're going to shape them or measure them out in 80 grams. Then we're going to roll them, and then I'm going to show you how to shape these. Really simple and very straightforward. But before I do anything else and start shaping that, I'm going to get a pan of water on the go, 3/4 of the way up in the pan, a large pan, and then bring it up to the boil. And be very careful when you do this. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of bacon. Is it teaspoons or tablespoons? No, teaspoons, yeah, sorry. 2 teaspoons of bacon powder. Not baking powder, sorry. Bicarbonate of soda or baking soda, sorry. So, we want 80. 77. Yeah, let go of my finger. 80. Right, so we're dusting the back of the tray so they don't stick. Right, so, as you can see, get some nice little dough buns. And how do you do that, chef? So basically, using your hand like more of like a little, kind of like a spider. And pretty much using your thumb when you swirl it around. Just putting your thumb in and out, in and out, in and out, and you get a nice beautiful swirl. So there you go, that's how you make the dough bun. Using your thumb and well, I'm not using my index finger, but you can use your index finger or middle finger, whichever you prefer. And then pop both your index fingers in there. And you just want to spin it around. Don't go spinning too hard. But you just want to spin these out. You'll be making quite a fair hole, because the reason for it, it'll pull back, and also second of all, it's also going to proof as well in double in size. So really kind of important to make sure you make that nice large hole. And then once it's ready, as it proves, that hole will get smaller, and then when you cook it, it'll get smaller. So really important to really kind of like give it plenty of space in the middle. So that's what we're going to do. And just make sure, if you need to do it a few times and just maybe just kind of pull it a little bit, just make sure you help even it out so your bagel's nice and even. So when this comes to proof and double in size, we should be good. So we're looking about there, right? So I'm going to pop that on the tray. I'm going to set them aside. They usually don't take too long to proof, so if you want to cling them, you can do. Just be careful they don't stick. I'm just going to leave them where they are in the air. It's going to be fine. So I'm just going to put them behind me. I'm just going to let them proof just until they've, I would say double in size. I'm going to more say like half of the double size. Should be good. Also, I need to turn the oven on. 350 Fahrenheit, 180 Celsius. I almost said 350 Celsius. That's a little bit too high. Right, so let's give this a little blend. I only want to cut these up into quarters. I don't want to go too crazy with it. I just basically need these in little strips. You can either do the mozzarella or whatnot. That's fine. I have got another mozzarella there, which I'm probably going to need out because this one is going to be very hard to cut some good slices out of. So what I will do, just slice this one up. I'll try cutting some of these out. If not, we can always do the mummy and the spider web, which is fine. So right, so this little devil's going to go in now. It's going to take about a minute to cook each side, so 2 minutes technically. So there we go. Right, it's been about a minute. Let's flip them over. Right, these are about ready, so these are going to come out. So if you look at them little gems. So we don't want to leave these out too long because we need to get them in the oven. So I'm just going to get these other ones cooked off. All right, let's give these a bit of an egg wash on top. We're going to grab that everything seasoning and just put a good little sprinkle over the top. Not making too much mess everywhere. Right, so these are going to take about 30 to 35 minutes once they go in the oven. And once they're nice and golden and brown, they're ready to come out, and they should be good to go. So we're going to get these in the oven now. All right, these ones. Oh, I don't know if these ones are actually going to work. I've got some other ones in the. I'll use some of the darker ones for the spiders, and maybe some of the green ones for the mummy eyes, because otherwise I'm not going to get that pit out. So I feel that's enough, and we're just going to cut a few of these up into like little legs. So we've got some little spider legs as well. Woo! Oh my goodness me. Oh, shall we move the olives? Might make life a little bit more easier. There we go. There you go, just gave you a little bit more of a perspective on that. Look at that little bad boy. Goodness me. Looks delightful. Slice a few of these. I'm going to slice every single one up. I'm going to slice some of them because I might keep some of them just for just general bagel use. Alright, so we've got the tomato sauce going on. Start to spookify them. So pretty much we're just going to use the cheeses to make some mummies. Maybe we'll make a spider web. You know, we'll do all sorts of things. So let me just put some pepperoni on them all. See if I can make some kind of spider web. 10-15 minutes in the oven? That won't take long. That won't take too long. Just to melt the cheese, pretty much. Wait, what happened to that one? That ghost got so spooked he disappeared. Oh my god. Chat. So they don't really look... Whoa! Spiders on the run. Very spookish. I mean, the ghost and the spider came out well. The mummy failed. But that's okay. Still looks a little bit demented. So, yeah, demented pizza bagel. That'll be fine with me. There we go, folks. There is our fresh bagels and our pizza bagels that we did. So, we made the bagels and then turned them into the pizza bagels itself. So for the bagels itself, this recipe is on my YouTube. I'll put the link as well. We're will be in the YouTube description box as well. I'm going to put this up on the video tonight. But for the Yukon Paste, we did 90 ml of water, 30 grams of flour, made that into a paste. Then in a bowl, we had 500 grams of bread flour, strong white flour, with 10 grams of salt. Set that aside. 280 ml of water, 35 Celsius, 95 Fahrenheit. Sorry. 3 teaspoons of dried active yeast and 15 grams of sugar, mixing them together. Put them into a mixer, put the flour in, give it a mix for a couple of minutes with the Yukon Paste, and then pretty much just add in the yeast mix and then mixing it up for about 5-10 minutes until it's nice and smooth. Shaping it up, let it proof and double in size. Flour, cling film, top of the fridge, wherever warm. Once they doubled in size, we shaped them into 80-gram shaped balls, rolled them, and then popping your finger and thumb through the middle, and then rolling them in to make a nice, good-sized bagel. Obviously, popped a pan of water onto the stove, 3/4 of the way up, and then 2 teaspoons of bicarbonate soda or baking soda, and then we just dropped them in, cooking for about roughly 1 to 2 minutes each side, and then drained onto a tray. A bit of egg wash and everyday seasoning. The everyday seasoning was 3 tablespoons of poppy seeds, 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds, 2 tablespoons of black sesame seeds, tablespoon of onion powder, tablespoon of garlic powder, and half a tablespoon of salt. So we sprinkled that over in the oven for about 30 minutes to 35 till golden, and that was pretty much it. Look at those beautiful, nice and crunchy on the outside, good old softness, chewiness to it. Anyway, we cut them in half. We used our tomato sauce recipe as well. So we had 1 onion, 4 garlic cloves, 1 thyme, 4 tomatoes, 1 can of tomatoes, 2 teaspoons of dried basil, 2 teaspoons of dried oregano, tablespoon of vinegar, 2 tablespoons of honey. Let that cook down for about an hour or 2, and then we blend it up, taste it, season it, good to go. So tomato sauce, and then the cheeses, we cut the cheeses into ghosts. Supposed to be mummies, but it ended up like a little ghoul, which is fine. And also the spider web, but we used Gruyere cheese, and we also used mozzarella cheese, and you can use whatever cheeses you prefer. And then some olives for the eyes for the ghost, for the ghoul, and then for the spider as well. And that was pretty much it. And then we just popped them in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes just to kind of melt down and ready to go. So that's pretty much it with the everything seasoning, sorry. So you get the right side up. I suppose you could sprinkle some on beforehand if you wanted to and then put stuff on top, but it's entirely up to you. But anyway, here we go. Wow, absolutely fantastic. Also, not forgetting that pepperoni as well we put on there. I forgot about them. Oh my god, that crunch, the chewiness. Anyway, chat, have a great weekend. Much loves, and thanks again. Bye for now, my friends.